What's going on, YouTube? I haven't made a video in so long, but today is the first day in about 3 weeks of constant snow and ice buildup that there is some warm weather. And because of all the salt and ice and snow on the road, my car is an absolute mess inside and out. And about 2 months ago, I was replacing the valve cover gaskets and there's just oil all over the engine bay. So in today's video, we are going to detail the engine bay and we are going to clean up the interior of this car. There's salt on the floor mats, there's stuff in my cup holders, and as I mentioned, that engine bay is a mess. This isn't gonna be like a detail. This is not my show car, this is my daily. I never really detail my daily. You know, whenever I'm in somewhere and I'm taking things apart, I try to clean everything that's there, just good practice. But yeah, the interior just needs a little bit of a scrub down, and last time I was working on the car, it was just a way more dirty process than it needed to be just because the engine bay has really never been cleaned. The previous owner before me definitely wasn't in there doing anything. I think it was an old lady. So yeah, let's just get started. I haven't made a video in so long, so it feels a little bit weird holding a camera again. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoy it, check out some of the other videos on my channel, and hopefully this starts some momentum as the weather gets nicer that I can keep making videos and doing interesting stuff. So let me show you what I got. We're gonna do this super cheap. You don't really need any crazy detail supplies. So let me show you what I got and we'll get started. So all I've got are some old rags, some cleaner. This is just general all-purpose cleaner, diluted, probably stronger than it should be. A couple screwdrivers just to take off the intakes and some of the bigger plastic pieces to actually access the engine, because the LS460s, they're just covered in plastic and you can't really see the engine bay. So you need to remove those. And then I got this brush set. So Advanced Auto, if you go to Advanced Auto Parts, they offer like coupons if you shop with them, and I always just go to the same spot, so I end up with these coupons. I had one that was going to expire, and I got these brushes for I think like $1 or $2. It was something super cheap, and it's kind of what made me think, all right, I should probably clean my engine bay. So we're going to use these. These aren't, I'm not going to say they're needed, but if you're doing any kind of engine bay cleaning, it is so nice to have these brushes, even a cheap set, just to get in between wiring looms and harnesses and all the little crevices of your engine. So highly would recommend these. And then yeah, the rags are just to wipe up all the water and soap. So this is what we're working with. As you can see, a lot of stuff is covered in plastic. There is one main piece of plastic which goes on top of the engine right here. I've already have that removed. It's just sitting in my trunk, so I'm gonna pop these guys off. It's just a few little push tabs all the way around. You pry them up with a screwdriver and you can get them off. Now with all the plastic covers off, you can see what we're working with, and the best way to go about doing this is to always break into sections. So what I'm going to do first is this strip right here. I'm gonna work my way from the bottom to the top, or top to bottom. As long as you have a method, it's pretty easy. I'll do this strip, I'll do the middle part, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off the 2 air intakes and this little air, I guess it's also part of the air intake system before the filters, and I'm gonna get to all the engine and everything that's underneath there. So I'll do the top first just to get all this little dirt and grime, and then I'll take them off, do the underside off the car, and then I'll be able to get to, you know, your valve covers under there, the front of the engine's here. So yeah, as you can see, you know, it's not awful. There's just dirt everywhere. Almost 20 years of this car just having never been cleaned in the engine bay, so I don't think it's gonna take too much to get this cleaned up looking way better than it is. So yeah, I'm gonna set up the camera and I'm gonna get started with this strip right here. So far, good progress has been made. I've pretty much just gone around the perimeter of the engine bay and done all of those bits, as you've seen for the most part. I think now what I'm gonna do is go on time lapse and do as much of this top cover of the engine as possible. There are really no tips for doing any of this. You might have seen me messing around with this little plug, which I don't actually think was seated all the way, which, you know, I haven't had any problems with the car, but, you know, it's good for finding little things like that you never would have touched unless you were cleaning it. But yeah, just don't spray any of your chemicals or water just directly into plugs. You can clean them, but don't be jamming anything into anything electrical. Clean your fuse panel cover. Don't clean the fuses. I don't even know if that needs to be said. Yeah, don't be afraid, but don't be stupid. You know, there's it's kind of a middle ground balance. But really, ECUs and electrical connectors are the biggest things that you don't want to get water or soap into. And then obviously your engine, but it's incredibly difficult to get anything into your engine if you're just using a spray bottle and a rag and a little brush. So I'm gonna put on time lapse. I'm gonna try to do as much of this as possible. This was the biggest difference right here. I don't know what all this crust is, but that's awesome. So I'm gonna do the whole thing and catch up with you guys in a second. It's now the next day. We've done pretty much all of the top of the engine bay. So now what we're gonna do is get off the bulk of these plastic pieces and start getting to what I really wanted to clean, which was the engine and a bunch of the pieces underneath. If you're doing exactly on this car, all you need to get off the most of the plastic, which you'll see is a 10mm and a Phillips head. On any other car, just look for stuff that's easy to remove. Air intakes are easy to remove. Any kind of plastic piping or plastic covers are easy to remove, and you can usually access a lot of things. This car is much more covered up than most cars, so you might not even need to remove anything at all. But yeah, we're gonna remove all these plastic and we'll be able to see so much more of the engine. So this is what we're working with now that all the plastic's off. As you can see, it makes a huge difference. We can see the entire front of the engine, this entire, I believe it's a coolant reservoir, which is dirty. This is all dirty. This is all super, super dirty. Get a little bit more in there. So yeah, now that all that stuff is off, makes a big difference. We'll be able to get the engine and the middle part clean. I'm gonna set the time lapse just like before and keep scrubbing and wiping. That's really all there is to it. Another really good reason to do this is just because you get your eyes and hands on pretty much everything in your engine bay. When I was cleaning the oil fill spout, whatever it's called, I did find a little bit of oil residue that was dripping down right here before I cleaned it. So I know that the gasket that goes in between this plastic part and the valve cover is probably bad. I'm sure that's just $1 or $2, but would have never known. You know what I mean? So it's good to get in here. It's good to clean stuff because you might end up finding leaks like that. It was the smallest of like seeps, but you know, I'll get around to it. I'll order that gasket up and we'll replace it at some point or another. So I've pretty much now gone over the entire engine bay. It is not perfect. You will see dirt spots in some areas. This engine is kind of a pain to work on and clean, especially because of just the insane amount of wiring and hoses that go everywhere around it. If you're working on anything like the 240 that I have on the channel, if you've seen that, so much less in the engine bay, so much easier to clean. So hopefully if you're doing this to your car, you know, it's just some good due diligence to get it done and it's easier for you to do. But I think from here on out, it'd be a good habit to every time I work on this car and get past all these wires and hoses is just to make sure to use this brush, use some cleaner and get all the dirt out. Especially because if I ever have to take the throttle body out, it'll be way easier to get down in those little crevices, which I just can't get with my current brushes. So that's pretty much it for the engine bay. I'm gonna real quickly wipe down the interior. I'll do some before and after shots of that. I know it's not the most interesting thing in the world to watch, and this whole video has pretty much just been time lapse of me cleaning. But yeah, that's really it to cleaning your engine bay. Not too much to it. I'm gonna put all the plastic pieces on, make sure it starts. Disconnect your battery if you're doing this. Didn't mention that. It's just a good habit. And yeah, I'll get all the plastic on, we'll get this thing started and call it a day. Peep my professional drift stitch. Doesn't get any better than that. So I went around the entire car, pretty much just wiped everything down, much better than it was. Didn't do the floor mats. I'll do those when I bring this car to a pressure washer, because just getting the salt out by hand is gonna be a pain in the ass. But this car looks great. Besides the, you know, damage and defects and everything, the car is super clean. Car is still running super well. I would love to make more videos on this car for the channel, but I just don't want to modify this car too much. It is a daily. The muffler delete and the wheels is just enough for me for it to be reliable. But as maintenance items come up, I might force some maintenance items, do them early just to put out some more videos, and it's good for the car. It's got 160,000 miles. So stuff is going to start breaking eventually, even though it is a Toyota. I'm much happier with it, looks much better. Glad the engine bay is clean. It's just off my conscience, got rid of a lot of the oil from some of the valve cover spots. And shout out my buddy Joe. He went to Japan recently and got this cool Japanese sticker. So I think they do like remote control cars or something, but very cool. Found this in the car. I completely forgot it was in there. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was simple, it was easy. Could have very easily just not have filmed it, but I figured may as well get back into the momentum of posting. I've got to find a couple more things to do that I think would make good videos. A couple things I want to do in the trunk. I want to make like some custom cubbies that like contour to the shape of the trunk, just because I've got oil and cleaners and a few things back there that are kind of just getting jumbled around in paper bags. So we might try to figure out something to do there, make that a video. But yeah, thank you. If you're watching this, thank you so much for watching the video all the way to the end. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of the interactions. Follow me on Instagram. You guys DM me on Instagram every once in a while. I get comments that are super kind, super positive, and they make me want to keep making videos, even if it's something it's just as silly as cleaning your engine bay. So yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next one.